Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I'm a voice teacher. Today we will be looking at Amy Lee of Evanescence and one of the moderators of my Discord server, Jin. They will both be singing My Immortal.
These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just too much that time cannot erase.
She does really quick crescendos. She kind of is doing it on a lot of different words, actually, where she'll sort of start that word very, very quiet and then grow into the word quite rapidly. That's a thing that's happening quite often. That is one of her stylistic choices that she's making. I think that she's a really great singer. I've always thought that Amy's a really great singer. I loved this record. Like, this record was one of my favorite records in junior high. Bummer about her not being able to hear it or whatever was going on with it, but I thought that even that she was still keeping with everything quite well.
These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just too much that time cannot erase.
Good. So she doesn't do as much of that kind of leaning in type thing. She chooses to sing it a lot more legato. Legato, it means smooth, basically. So if you're singing it, these wounds were da da da, this pain is just too real, the sound is continuing all the way through smoothly. If we were making it staccato, it would be, this pain is just too real, and putting separations between each of them. What Amy's doing, it's somewhere in the middle because it's still got the flow of legato, but it's got that drastic change in volume on almost every single word. So I do think that it's important to be able to sing things legato. I think it's a good way to start when you're training a song. And then once you prove to yourself that you're able to get it nice and legato, try putting things in. You can switch things up like how Amy did it, or even if you are working on a song that requires a lot of staccato, try it out legato first. Because a lot of times that'll be an easier way to find a nice balanced sensation. And once you get used to it, then you just kind of chop it up. So it's like, you build the cake, and that's your legato. You have a full cake, and then you can chop it up and serve little pieces of it, but it's still the whole cake. That's an analogy.
You'd scream, I'd fight away all of your fears, and I'd held you and through all of these years, but you still there.
So I'm not sure if she can hear herself or if she can hear the orchestra or what is going on with it, but something seems a little bit off to me. There were a few notes that were a little bit like flat, but that doesn't bother me. It's just like showing something's a little bit off based on that first clip that we saw, and then we get this other piece of evidence of it just being a little bit flat on some parts of it, and I'm just like, she doesn't seem totally comfortable in every way. So that's the first thing to address with it, is like, hopefully like she worked out that sound problem and it hasn't happened again since. But things like that happen when you're performing. When you're performing live, like, it's so important to just be able to keep rolling with the punches, because when you're in front of a big group of people, you can't stop it. When you're in front of a small group of people, you shouldn't stop it. It's just like not a good thing to do as a performer. So I love that she's just dealing with it and going through.
When you scream, I hide away all of your fears, and I held your hand through all of these years, but you still have.
Good. And then she has that little fall off at the end, which is kind of a stylistic thing that she does quite a bit. I think it's important to be able to do it without having that fall off. So Jin, if you're watching this, Jin, if you're watching this, try to just make sure that you can get it without having that fall off, because it's important to prove that it's a stylistic choice rather than what we default to. And I do think that a lot of times our stylistic choices become our defaults, and that's less great because then we can't do other things quite as well. There were a few little notes in there that like were just a few cents up or down from what I think they would be ideal. And in that case, like, just try doing the whole thing on a vowel. We know that that works for Jin. If you just sing everything on a vowel, then like she matches it perfectly. And I think most of it was actually right on, just like how what Amy did, there a few little bits that were a little bit pitchy. I know I say a lot of times that I don't care about pitch, and that's true when I'm training someone initially, because I think that so many people have such a strong ear for pitch. I do think that most people are not tone deaf. I think that there's a very, very small amount of people that might be, but it's like such a small percentage of the population that I would bet that you're not one of them, whoever is watching this. So I do believe that most people can hear things quite well. And because of how much music is just playing in life these days, I think people understand what things are supposed to sound like, and if they're not able to make the sounds exactly like what they know it's supposed to sound like, then they kind of freak out and they judge themselves and they stop singing. So when I'm first working with people, I think it's really important to give them space to like be imperfect with pitch, because if we're so concerned with trying to be on pitch all the time and it's not coming, it's going to be a feedback loop that just beats us up over and over, and we're not going to be able to explore enough to try to find a new vocal coordination that might actually reliably be able to tune. So for pretty much everyone, like as soon as they prove to me that they can match pitch, that they're able to follow it fairly well, I'm like, forget about it. It doesn't matter. And then we go through and like try to balance their voice really well. And then at some point I'll start trying to care about the pitch matching a little bit more after they've already proved that they know what that new coordination is supposed to feel like and they're able to reliably get there.
I've tried so hard to tell myself that you're gone, but though you stick with me, I've been alone.
Okay, so on that very last one, it's like she went into a chest pull coordination just for a second. You can get away with it. It's not my favorite sound. I think that she could have just adjusted all of the vowels leading up to it a little bit. They worked. Obviously, they worked. She's able to sing it, but I don't think that it's as well as she is capable of singing it. Just that last chest pull thing, I don't think you need it. Like, it sounded a little hard to get into to me. And I think that you could adjust the vowel and it wouldn't sound as hard to get into. It wouldn't feel that difficult.
I've tried so hard to tell myself that
There's another one of those pitch fall-offs.
but though you're still with me, I've been alone all alone.
Nice, Jen. Good. So there were a few of those little pitch fall-offs in the same way that I talked about earlier. Those are the ones that I'd want to just make sure that you can get through without needing to have that pitch fall off happen. Make it a choice. Every single time, make it a choice. Especially when you start seeing intonation issues in other parts of the song, make sure that you can do it without any of those stylistic slides, just to prove that you can, and to make sure that you know what it's supposed to feel like when you're perfectly in tune with everything. I think that both of these singers were really good at showing what they were feeling on their faces. I've always thought Jin is a very expressive performer, and that she like is willing to let her body look like what she's feeling and her face look like what she's feeling. And I think that that's a really important thing to keep in mind. So yeah, just a few little things, like mostly intonation in this thing. With both of them, it's like, Amy, I know that she's got this stuff. Jin, I know that she can get this stuff. It's just that there were a few little things that make me think that that would be worth looking at. So one thing that you can do, so the self all along, I just want to play around with that melody, and you can do that on a few different sounds so that you can really tune it all in. So I would start with going with a ooh, and just sing through it on an ooh, and then we'd kind of take it through a bunch of different pitches. And as you get higher, you're gonna need to start opening your mouth a little bit more, because if we keep it really tight with it's not going to feel very good. So you have to start letting it open to more of an oh. And I do think that using an exercise like this that forces you to go into just a vowel sound up high enough that you do need to start opening your mouth or you'd run into problems, it shows that like that's the one thing that we're really focusing on. So if you start by opening the mouth before you even make the sound and then just let the sound occupy that space, I think it's a really effective exercise. So instead of breathing in through this place, we breathe in through, and as we go higher, it has to open even more. And let it be a little bit heady. Like this is a very released sound. I'm not trying to belt this one out. The ooh really encourages that headier quality. And one of the reasons I want to encourage that headier quality is because, like, if something like what happened with Amy is happening to you, we want to prove what it feels like to be, like, nice and on tune in a kind of not chest pulled place. Just so that we know what it feels like. And then once you get used to it, then you can get in with a more full voice place. So maybe try it with letting that B kind of build up pressure behind your lips, and go with a and do it in a more full voice. Again, like I'm demonstrating an octave and I haven't warmed up at all today. So if you are a voice type that tends to be a little higher than mine, it might be easier for you. If this is something that's really, really high for you, try doing it down the octave just to get used to that feeling. On that same bu-bu. And by narrowing the vowel a little bit like that, versus ah, we can get used to what it feels like to have that vowel in that area. And then when we get back to the regular pitch of the song, then we try to maintain that same vowel shape when we get to a long. South all along versus a long, because as soon as it breaks out of that smaller vowel position and goes into that really big one, that's when the yelly kind of stuff happens. So if that's something that's been happening to you, like experiment with how open you make your mouth, about how narrow you make your mouth. My teacher Dean would always say, like, keep it round and down. And I think that that's really a good mantra to kind of go on in our head of, we want the jaw to come down and the tongue come down with it, but we want to keep our vowel round enough that it doesn't go into that yellier posture. Round and down. So those are the main things to kind of work on. Just make sure that we're tuning everything up and that we have nice even vowel shapes so that when we go to more extreme ones, we know what like the most comfortable middle place is and it's connected to that rather than being like, okay, I'm going to warm up like this and then sing in a totally different way. The reason that we do warm-ups is to kind of prime everything so that we know what good singing is supposed to feel like, and then we can hold on to those feelings when we actually go to sing. So yeah, good job from both of them. Like a few little issues with all of them, but like totally fixable just by spending a little bit of extra time or by having a different sound set up. Like I don't know what was going on with Amy, but that didn't look fun to deal with, and I thought that she did it pretty well. She did it with grace, but it did throw enough things off that I'm like, is that how you would do this most of the time? Your habits are built up so well that you're doing really well and you're making good choices, but you can kind of see through the seams a little bit. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. If you like these videos and you want to be notified of them whenever I upload a new video, then click the bell notification and go check out my Discord in the links below. Say hi to me, say hi to Jin, and yeah, have fun. Thank you.